Well, I've got bigger problems, folks. It's the world's most hated, most racist online show in America, Reese on Radio. I'm going to check Whack FM and see whether or not this is actually strolling. There it is. Here we go. We're good. All right, we were having a little bit of an issue for a second there. That was driving me up the wall. But I apologize for that. Let me get back. What I didn't do, which I should have done before, was while I was doing this, I had very poor reception, and I wanted to get a couple of things sitting up here, and I did not do that. No, that's canceled. That piece right there. So it looks like now I'm not going to be able to get my chat room up. So I screwed that up. Okay, well, it happens. And everything else that I'm supposed to have here, no, not here. And no, we're screwed. So I'm not going to be able to read your comments. That sucks, because I just completely did this whole thing backwards, which it should have, but now I'm scrambling, so whatever. It happens, folks. Anyway, so forget all the nonsense. Let's just get into it. Today's just going to be one of those days where I'm just not going to be able to read them, so my apologies to you. I was trying to fix something here, but it just didn't work out. No big deal. Plenty of news, plenty of views to get into today. What to talk about, folks? Well, today we're going to talk about Ami Horowitz, who went out to Minneapolis and filmed a segment during the deliberations of the Derek Chauvin trial. And went out there and spoke to young black people, the young activist movement, involved with BLM, or just black people in general. And this video may shock you. It may not. Some of you will say, well, hey, Reese, we knew this all along. We shouldn't be surprised. Well, there is going to be a tad bit that you're going to be surprised about, because I'm going to answer a question that even I was trying to figure out. And I asked it on this show a little more than a week ago. I asked, why is it that the people who are involved in the Black Lives Matter community are so adamant about dealing with police brutality and unarmed black men and women being shot by police, and not talking about the scores of black people who are dying in the inner city? And I think that I inadvertently found my answer. I may have even knew it before, but I just wasn't paying attention. I even mentioned what I'm about to show you. You may be shocked and make the correlation. It may not be the fault of those activists. It may not be. Would you be shocked to learn that it's not the activist's fault why they're not paying attention to the young black lives that are being extinguished in the inner city? Pay close attention to what I'm about to play. I'll try to pause it and give my commentary along with it, but let me see if I can make sure I got this here. Okay, okay, there we go. All right, let's pay attention. This is Ami on the street of Minneapolis, right around the time deliberations are taking place for the Derek Chauvin trial in the death of George Floyd. And we should be concerned about that. Someone says, I can understand that rage as a black person. I can understand why somebody would want to burn down a city because I'm black. I understand that rage. Okay. See, that'll be the least of our problems if they burn the city down. They don't even see it. It's nothing. They burn it down. It's what they always do. Isn't it weird that that's transferable? That kind of behavior, that kind of reaction to a trial is so transferable because we're led to believe that the black generations are so, the gap, the chasm is wide between the two. But yet here, they're doing the same thing that was done 50, 60, 70 years before them. And I find that odd. Some people might argue and say, well, see, Reese, that shows you that culturally things remain the same, even though they're from different generations. So the only thing that they were culturally able to stay in sync with or to keep as a tradition was burning down their communities. Oh, that's the only thing they could do, right? Pulling up your pants, combing your hair, not tattooing your face. No, they couldn't get any of those. They couldn't discern from our history that may be a bad thing. But you know what? They glommed onto that violence thing. Now that makes sense. Now there's a good piece. Should we eliminate the judicial system? Yes. No crime. Anarchy. Everything is okay. They live in a lawless society anyway, right? People killing and shooting. No one's safe. Get rid of the judicial system. I'm pretty sure your lives will be better in the African American community, won't it? Of course it should. Now, are these children dumb? I mean, I can't help but ask, are they just stupid? Or maybe they're just children. Maybe they don't understand structure. Maybe, and people make that argument, well, Reese, they just don't want the judicial system to be like it is. That's not what these people are saying. These are not, I call them children because they're idiots. But these are not children. By definition, these people are smart enough to know. In fact, they're giving their opinion like they know. Now, if they're kids and they don't know, you have to admit that. They're kids, they don't know. Otherwise, they're stupid. This one says he would support street justice. Just put him out on the street, release him to the wolves. Listen to this next one. Okay, here's the piece. Let me rewind it a little bit. Forgive me. This is an important piece. This gets to the crux of my discussion today, folks. Here is why young African American people are not paying attention to the countless deaths that are happening in the inner city. And the question that you are about to hear asked and answered. On this show, I told you in a conversation I had with Patrick, where Patrick said that I said to him that, Patrick, there are people who believe that there are thousands of black people, unarmed black people, being killed by the police on a regular basis. I should have figured it out. I should have put two and two together, but I did not. There are no statistics to support this. That thousands of African Americans are being killed by the police. Nothing, nowhere, not even remotely close. There is data that shows that over 8,000 last year, 8,000 last year were killed, murdered, in fact, in the inner city. But Ami asked this question of these two women. Hundreds plus. In just Minnesota? She thinks hundreds just in Minnesota. You heard that? Thousands. Thousands. Come on. The number shows up right there as he asks. $18. This is what gives them justification to ignore the real death toll in the black community. This is what gives them license to do that. Thousands. Come on, Ami. It's thousands. They're killing us every second of the day. Didn't we just have a guy that we just played from the Academy Awards, Trayvon Free? Didn't he just say that it was 1,000? That's what I turned around and said, oh, that's where they're getting 1,000 from. Three people a day, Trayvon Free said. Nobody can get their numbers right. It's all over the place. Trayvon Free says cops are killing 3 people a day out of 365 days in a year, which amounts to $1,000 people a year. This woman, when asked, says thousands, hundreds in Minneapolis alone. Thousands are being killed across the country, she says. Like, how dare you ask me? You know, they're dying every second. That's the part. At the end of all of that death and destruction that they wanted to inflict on everyone, they pounded up. Peace and love. Peace and love. And they all said it. Freely. Peace and love. Peace and love. They want to kill Whitey, though. Now, the general question is just be like, Whitey, what have you wrought? White man, what have you wrought? You've done this, white man. Look at what you've done, white man, and your 400 years of oppression. Look at what you've done to the black soul, the black heart. Look at what you're responsible for. And you know what I would say? I would say, Negro, you're right. Yes, you're 100% right. This is what the white man has wrought. The white man is responsible for this, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And if you're a liberal white, I mean you. If you are a liberal white, I mean you. You have sealed your own fate. And you did it willingly and freely. Remember, you're running around on your knees, crying, begging for forgiveness, trying so hard to be woke. Please, please forgive us for our skin color. And what has it gotten you? These black people want you to die. Should we just start grabbing most of the country for the thousands of deaths per year and start killing whitey? I don't want to incriminate myself, but yes, we should start killing whitey in the street. What did it get you? You white liberal idiot. This has gotten you no more than death and destruction. And that's what's going to take. I mean, I guess that's what it's going to take. Civil war. Another civil war must come, these black people said. We need to get another civil war. We need to have white people feel the same pain by killing them in the thousands. Now, think about that. We know that thousands of black people are not being killed by the police, but in their minds, thanks to your liberal media, thanks to white liberal elites from the Democrat Party to the media to the corporate oligarchs, from the Bezos to the Mark Zuckerbergs to the Bill Gates, the people who have totally promoted this idea have not corrected the record. Joe Biden too, Kamala Harris too. None of these people are correcting the record. They're letting these people run around here and say that thousands and thousands of black people are being murdered every day by the police. To the point where these black people want a revolution for deaths that never happen. A lie can travel around the world faster than the truth can put its pants on. I remember when I learned that. I remember when I learned that saying from good old Rush Limbaugh. A lie can make it around the world faster than the truth can put its pants on. And that's what's happened here. You brought this upon yourselves. Conservatives are going to have the guns out. I bet you liberals will find, you guys will find the Second Amendment all of a sudden. AR-15s? Who banned those? Who is the tarnation banned the AR-15? We better get those things back. Just start. Oh, the Negroes are coming. What have we wrought? Baby, get the shotgun. Get another shotgun. Get all the shotguns. I hope you're proud of yourselves. I hope you're proud of yourselves. Because this is what you brought onto you. This is what you. You're responsible for this. You have to know that you are. I mean, I want to feel bad, but I don't. I can't feel bad for a group of people who are willing to promote that lie just to get elected. I can't possibly feel bad for people who wanted to undo the country so badly. Wanted to undo the country so badly that they were willing to take a group of people and make them so marginalized and so helpless and so desperate that they want to kill. That their salvation, their survival, the only way that they could survive is to kill all the white supremacists. To kill them all. Damn. That young lady said that she believes most of the country is systemically and just virtually racist. All of you. Even the white mother effers she votes for when she goes out to vote. If she goes out to vote. Who thinks Ami took advantage of that poor girl? Took advantage of those poor souls. Many of them were just sitting up there matter-of-factly. They were certain. They knew what they were talking about. That woman said, come on. You kidding me? Sorry, let me turn that volume down. I'm okay with police stopping all responses and calls to the hood for 1 month. Let's see how quickly they call the cops. Those two fatty couldn't walk a mile, much less fight a civil war. Oh, you are wrong, Mike. You are so wrong. But what do you expect, man? These people, look, and let me explain something to you. It's a good point of what Mike said here. When the Civil War happens, it's not going to be like people going to Bunker Hill. It will not be the Battle of Gettysburg where people will start walking through the streets and meeting on the battlegrounds. No, the battlegrounds will be in the cities where these black people live. They have to be close to home. They have to be, right? I mean, where are they going to go get their food and watch BET? They have to go back home. They just do. Give me my props, Nelson. That was funny. They're never going to go to these places that the war has to be fought on the battlefield. No, they will happen within their towns and in their cities. And if they go out there and they want to start eradicating white folks, they are going to do it in those cities. Now, I know that you can see that I'm on the air.
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm laying in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
That's okay. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
It happens. But they're going to be fighting in their own cities. In New York, where all the white people are in agreement. Black Lives Matter is an important movement that is for the betterment of black people so they can get their equity, so they can be equal in this country. Well, when the Civil War happens, what's going to happen? It's going to be outside your door. Do you think these black people are going to go from Harlem, Brooklyn, Queens, and they're going to fight white folks up in Buffalo, in Schenectady? Do you think they're going up there? You think they're going to the Finger Lakes to go fight Whitey? Do you think that's where they're going? No. They're going real close by. And trust me, you ask any one of these people, hey, do you think that you'll be able to go to the Upper West Side to where those rich white people live and go up there and get ready to affect change? Hell no. I said, nope, those cops will show up in any minute. You ask them every day, I hear it. Even our good friend Jay King says it all the time. If black people would have showed up at the Capitol on January 6th, it'd have been a bloodbath. He forgets the fact that there were Black Lives Matter at the White House, where the president and first lady actually had to be taken to the bunker. He ignores that. Probably because he doesn't know it happened. A lot of people don't get their news. A lot of people search their news. They search the news that's, applicable to what they want. A lot of people don't know the news. They're not very involved in the news. I have to run a business and deal with 4 to 5 employees, and I'm still up on the news on a regular basis. Still know the world is coming around. But some people clearly don't know anything about Black Lives Matter going to the White House. A more important house than the Capitol building? Anyone? Anyone? Possibly? Huh? Really? He could be. Black Lives Matter was at the White House. Nobody died. You barely heard anything in the media about it. Nobody was carted off, bloodied and bruised, and no heart attacks, and none of that. Didn't see it happen. Maybe you should look it up. Can't expect them to do that. If you're wondering what I'm drinking, many of you know I'm a little bougie. It's Pellegrino. I'm very bougie. It's 0 calorie, like seltzer water. This is blood orange and black raspberry. I don't know, whatever. It's the best tasting of them all. Try not to drink soda as much. I really like tonic. I love tonic water. Woo! Big fan of tonic water. Anyway, but enough about that, folks. If you need to, go watch that video. You will be... and share it. Share it with your friends. It is Ami on the Loose, Ami Horowitz. You can find it at the Daily Wire's YouTube page. But share it with your friends. Let them know. Let them see. But let's talk about something that's even more important than that. Can we give a round of applause to our first transgender governor of California? Yes. Her name is Bruce Jenner. Have you seen Bruce's ad? Apparently he's going under a pseudonym named Caitlyn. He's dressed up for the commercial. Here's a segment of it. Caitlyn for California. Please applaud that broad. Let's give her a round of applause. Him, shim, herm, I don't care. He's going to go in there and get rid of Gavin Newsom. It's going to be a wrap. It is definitely going to be a wrap for Gavin Newsom. Now, he's going to get recalled. They say that polling suggests that he's got a chance of staying governor of California. But there are a lot of people who are sick of the lockdowns. They're sick and tired of the high taxes. People are leaving. I mean, I don't think Marvel Studios right now is probably the only studio company that's making billions of dollars. And I think that they're out of Georgia right now. They're in Atlanta is where their studios are. No one's in Hollywood anymore. People are leaving Hollywood. And I didn't even know this. Gavin Newsom is Nancy Pelosi's nephew? Ooh. He can't be popular there. He can't be. Not as a governor. But it's a mess over there. They go from Rikers from Law and Order. Oh, I'm not sure what that is. Transgender. I think that's, you know what, Wendy, that's what I would call That's what I would call him from now on. But doesn't he have to get a name like Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor? What are we gonna call? What's it? Caitlyn Jenner. If he, him, Sherm becomes the governor, it's got to be a name. It's got to be a name. Can we call it a transfer of power? I'm sorry. I'm reaching. I'm just reaching. That was really, really bad. That was just awful. Hey, anybody out there, do you use treadmills? Look, I'm in the moving industry, and I hate treadmills. My guys hate treadmills. They're the worst. They're the worst ever. But for those of you out there who hate treadmills, who despise having them in your house, or know people who have one, you know people who have one who don't use them. If you know those people. Now, me, in the moving industry, there are a lot of families that have treadmills, and I'm not trying to insult anyone, but if you see some of these people, you know that treadmill has been collecting dust. Okay? You've seen them. You know who they are. But they're not on the treadmill. Well, this one is for those of you who know those people, can't stand those people who have a treadmill. If you're in the moving industry and you have people who need you to move a treadmill, even though it's going to a house that's even smaller, and if you try to get it through the door and nobody knows how to take them apart, even though that they show up in a box, the treadmill shows up at the house in a box, and then they put them together, and then you ask them, hey, how do we get this out? And they go, I don't remember how we got it in. So how do I know how to get it out? And then you're painstakingly trying to figure it out. If you're in the moving industry, like me, this drives you crazy. This one's for you, Carl. This one's for you. Are you familiar with the company Peloton? Well, apparently that's their treadmill. And that treadmill is being recalled. Yes, it's being recalled. And you want to know why? Because apparently, that is the treadmill of death. Peloton announced today that they are voluntarily recalling both of its treadmill machines over safety concerns. The announcement marked a major reversal of Peloton's initial reaction and comes after weeks of discussions with the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. In a statement, Peloton apologized for not acting more quickly to resolve the issue after reports of one death and dozens of injuries. Who is injuring themselves on a treadmill? A treadmill has got to be the easiest thing to frickin' operate, okay? You put your hands on the bars, right? And you run. Running should be the simple, but someone died on this thing. Somebody died on this thing, right here. Someone died on it. How? If they died running and they were running too fast, maybe they had a mask on. I want to be clear. Peloton made a mistake in our initial response to the Consumer Product Safety Commission request that we recall the Tread Plus. This is according to CEO John Foley. He said this in a statement on Wednesday. Well, today. We should have engaged more productively with them from the outset. For that, I apologize. Now, Peloton shares, they plummeted. Some 15%. No, sorry. Is that 15 or 1.5? Oh, no, that's 15%. Hitting a low not seen since September. That wiped about $4.1 billion from Peloton's market value. The company is advising customers who already have either the Tread or the Tread Plus products to immediately stop using their equipment and run your ass outside. Like a normal human freaking being. Stop using this device and go outside and run. Enjoy some fresh air. It is springtime, for crying out loud. The recalls affect about 125,000 Tread Plus machines and roughly 1,050 Tread products in the U.S. Yeah. They said it's received 18 reports about the touchscreen loosening. The touchscreen, right there, that it loosens. And 6 reports of the touchscreen detaching and falling from the tread. The group had previously warned about Peloton's Tread Plus product last month, after one child died in an incident involving the machine. Now, that's sad. There were also dozens of other reported injuries. Now, a child, first of all, does anybody remember this? Mike Tyson lost a daughter to a treadmill, if I'm correct. Somebody may have to correct me on that. Correct me on it. And they don't read the instructions to put it together. You're absolutely right, Carl. There was no sound on the ad? Huh. They shoot the Mandalorian on a USF base in California, I think. Okay. Anyway, so I think, I'm almost certain Mike Tyson's daughter, very young daughter, died on a treadmill. Anyway, the regulatory agency said that Peloton's treadmills are designed differently than its peers, with an unusual belt design that uses individually rigged rubberized slats or treads that are interlocked and ride on a rail. That's instead of a thinner continuous belt. There's also a large gap between the floor and the belt of the tread, leaving room for things to wiggle their way under it. So they tried to reinvent the wheel to try to make it a cuter design, and now someone has died as a result, a child for that matter. And now other people have injured as well. But then again, I just say, look, run in the park. What's so wrong with running in the park? What do you need a treadmill for? I don't know. I don't get it, but people will run with them. And they do. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Just stop. All of you, just stop doing it. Get your dumb ass on the street. Please. For your sake and the sake of others. Just get on the damn sidewalk. So you guys heard that Donald Trump has been permanently banned from Facebook. And he's got his own web page now, sort of like a blog site. I'm not concerned. For some odd reason, everyone needs to make a story out of it, or they want to make a story out of it. For what, I don't know. I'll never, ever be able to understand people's obsessions with Donald Trump. I think it shows more who they are, not who he is, if you obsess that badly about someone. But that's the case. Hey, do you have kids, and are they going to summer camp this year? If I were you, I wouldn't let them go. Now, I was growing up, folks. I loved summer camp. Summer camp was great. Back when I was a kid, they used to make movies about summer camp. My favorite summer camp movie of all time is Meatballs. Do you remember that movie? I hope you do. If you've never seen it, please go watch it. It's Bill Murray at his best. I don't know who else is in that movie that's even remotely familiar, but Bill Murray is in that movie. And I think it was one of his first starring roles. And I hope. No, I don't have it. I had some audio from that. Or at least I used to have some audio from it. But that summer camp experience that I had when I was younger, when I was a kid, it was incredibly special. There was, I learned how to swim a little bit when I was out there with a life jacket, of course, big orange life jacket. I hiked. I learned about nature. We played games. I didn't stay at a sleepaway summer camp. I know a lot of you did. But I stayed I went to a day camp. Folks, when I say that this camp was impressionable on me, I was 6 years old. I'm 51 today. I remember this camp like it was yesterday. I remember the first fight I had at this camp. And I had it with an overweight white kid named Munch. That was his nickname. His nickname was Munch. And I remember it was sad because I not only beat up the poor kid, but I also kind of insulted him about his weight, and I hurt his feelings really bad. And I remember how he cried and how he ate his tuna fish sandwich after the fight. He was so miserable. I still remember the look on his face. It still haunts me to this day. It was one of the cruelest things I could have ever done. But the kid was picking on me, and I had to fight back, and it was really, really bad. But at the end of the fight, he was really, really hard. He was really, really hurt and destroyed by it. And I remember him eating that tuna sandwich, sitting there, upset, and shoving it into his face. He was comfort eating. I know he was. He was only 6, but he was shoving it into his face. He was like literally jabbing it into his mouth while he was eating it. The camp was called Robin Hood Day Camp. And we had Robin Hood, we had green shirts, and Robin Hood was on one knee. He was pulling a bow and arrow. And I don't know whether or not I don't know whether or not they exist to this day, but I just remember that green shirt and Robin Hood Day Camp. It said Robin Hood on the top. It said Day Camp on the bottom. Robin Hood on his knee. It was a very, very important time. I remember everything it is that I learned there. And I tell this story often about this day camp. As many of you know, my last name is Hopkins. But during summer camp at Robin Hood Day Camp, my last name was Hawkins by the camp counselor, who's a tall, slender black man, light skin, but he was funny. He didn't speak very clearly. He did not enunciate. And for the entire summer that year, he yelled my name and referred to me as Hawkins. Every day I was Hawkins. He would say, Hawkins! And I would turn around, look at him, and I go, do you mean me? He goes, that's what I said. I said your name. I was like, no, my last name is Hopkins. He goes, that's what I said. He said it all the time. No matter how many times I would say to him, it's not my name. He goes, what's your name? I go, Hopkins. He goes, that's what I said. I was like, no, you didn't. You said Hawkins. But I couldn't really talk back to him. I'm 6. But after a while, I got used to it. I was Hawkins for the entire summer. One day, I did not go to Robin Hood Day Camp, and he was doing attendance at the day camp, and he got to my name, and it clearly read Hopkins. And he got to the name, and he went, Hawthorne. And he'd go, Hopkins, and he didn't hear anything. And he'd go, Hopkins, and one of the kids was smart enough. I wish I knew this kid to this day, but he was smart enough. He goes, you mean Hawkins? He goes, yeah, where is he? He's out today. So he marked me absent. But even then, when he was corrected about my name, he still refused to refer to my last name, and he called me Hawkins for the rest of it. To this day, I'll always be, I think in this, if you were to ask him, and he saw me today, he would say, Hawkins, in a minute. But I loved him. He reminded me of so much. Yeah, he got them hands. He sure did, Carl. That poor kid. I felt bad. Anyway, I say this because summer camp, weirdly enough, is one of those places that kids at first are not really thrilled about going to. If you've been to summer camp or you have kids that you took to or sent to summer camp, you remember what it was like when they had to go to this far-off place where they didn't know anyone. It was like going to the first day of school. Remember what kindergarten was like? When they go to these things, they're very, very, it's a traumatic thing, especially if it's sleepaway. I mean, in essence, they're being sent off to like a boarding school in the summer. That's what it feels like. You feel rejected by your parents. Like, why are you sending me off with these strangers to go live in the frickin' woods? What kid wouldn't think that this was some sick ritual that parents do to their children? It makes sense to me, now that I'm grown. You as a parent, you're just saying, hey, if I don't get these goddamn kids out of this house, if they don't get out of this house right now, I'm going to lose it on somebody. I'm a Susan Smith somebody up in this piece. Yes, I know that was inappropriate. But moms get like that. And moms and dads, and they say, I can get the summer off if I just pay $4,000 to send them off with other adults to do things that I wouldn't even do with these kids, that involves swimming and zip lining and going to zoos petting zoos with wild animals, off with strangers who I'm entrusting them to take care of and bring my kid back alive. Right now, parents are going, in a goddamn heartbeat, Reese. And they do it. The reason why I bring this up is that you may have heard about the CDC's summer camp guidance and the fact that so many people they're losing their minds about it because the CDC is, it's just off the deep end. Here's the article. CDC guidance on children's summer camps has gone so far that even Anthony Fauci couldn't even keep a straight face when asked to defend it. On NBC's The Today Show, host Savannah Guthrie asked Fauci about the absurd CDC guidance on summer camps, which said that vaccinated adults and children have to wear masks outdoors unless eating, drinking, or swimming. This even though children are at low risk for severe COVID-19 and the risk of outdoor transmission is extremely low. He said, I wouldn't call them excessive, Savannah, but they certainly are conservative, Fauci responded, having to pause so he could start chuckling. And I think, you know what, let's just listen to Dr. Fauci.
And let me stay on the subject of kids because summer camps are coming up and a lot of parents are looking forward to sending those kids out and hoping they have a great summer since they weren't able to last summer. But the CDC guidelines right now for kids in summer camps say masks must be worn at all times, even outdoors, by everyone, including vaccinated adults and children as young as 2 years old, and campers should stay 3 feet apart, even outdoors. My question to you is, given what research shows about transmission outside, about the low risk of serious illness in children, are these CDC guidelines excessive?
I wouldn't call them excessive, Savannah, but they certainly are conservative. and I think what you're going to start to see is really in real time, continually reevaluating that for its practicality. Because you're right, people look at that and they say, well, is that being a little bit too far right now?
Yeah, because aren't we supposed to be, we've been told, people have been preaching for a year, follow the science. The science doesn't suggest those CDC guidelines are too sensible for little kids outside in 90-degree heat running around with masks.
Yes, Savannah, you've asked me that question a couple of times before.
I'm asking for 2 kids named Vale and Charlie, age 6 and 4.
Yeah, well, you're right. The CDC makes decisions based on science. They will continually reevaluate that. You're right. It looks a bit strict, a bit stringent, but that's the reason why they keep looking at that and trying to, reevaluate on literally in real time whether or not that's the practical way to go.
So again, as I've always said on this show and on countless other shows that I've been on, the CDC is a joke. These government agencies are a joke. Even Dr. Fauci is laughing at how stupid and the idiocracy of these morons. I can't help but be furious at some of this dumb shit that goes on here.
Laughing at how stupid.
Well, you have to turn me down. Thanks for calling. Who's on the line?
Hello?
Hey, hi.
Hey, how you doing there, Reese on the radio?
Hi, who's this?
I just wanted to... This is Jennifer Hayes.
Hey, what's up, Jen? What's going on?
What's going on is, there's a couple things.
Okay.
CDB doesn't always get things right.
Okay.
However, prevention is the key.
Okay.
Right now, they have talked about if you have been vaccinated, like I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I went into my office today. I go in like once a week because the new way of the world is basically we can get more work out of our workers when they telework.
Okay.
So I go in my office once a week. I sat down at the board table because we were meeting in person. And everyone sat down, and no one could understand each other through their masks.
Of course not.
Saying, huh? So I said, I'm fully vaccinated.
Right.
Who else in this room is fully vaccinated? Everybody was fully vaccinated because we're old farts.
Right.
And we have pre-existing conditions.
Okay.
So we felt comfortable because we weren't sitting right next to each other. For every other seat, everyone took off their mask, and we commenced with our meeting. It's all about people's comfortability.
Is it though? Should it be about people's comfortability?
Yes, it is.
No. Hear me out, Jennifer. Should it be about people's comfortability? Wait. Should it be about people's comfortability when it comes to science? In other words, what are we dealing with here? We dealing with people who are comfortable in spite of the science? Like, which is more important, people who are comfortable or people who are following the science? Because I always thought that we need to follow the science. I didn't think it had anything to do with people's comfortability.
And well, it's both. We're following the science, but this vaccination, they've already come out and said we'll probably need a third vaccination by September, 1. Number 2, sorry, we're human. It's about comfortability.
Well, why would I trust?
I don't have to wear my mask.
Why would I trust the government? Why would I trust the government that we would need to take a third vaccine? I thought that once we took the vaccine, we were vaccinated.
Well, this is Jennifer Hayes' personal opinion.
Oh, okay.
This is not
so it's not rooted in science.
Opinion of anybody else or reflect where I work and da.
Okay.
1, I think that we all know that every disease mutates and evolves, just like we evolve. So this COVID has different strains now.
Which means what?
It's going to be another flu shot where we take it every year. Now, some people do not want to take the COVID shot, do not have immunity problems, but I'm a veteran. I've taken every shot in America. I have pre-existing conditions, but before they found out about my pre-existing conditions, I would catch a cold like that after I've taken every vaccination in the world.
Okay, now listen, you're jumping into the lion's den on this one, Jen, because I have a lot of questions that I probably don't have a lot of time to go into, but let me try a few on you. Okay? I get that you trust the CDC's guidelines on corona, and I get that you trust the government to some degree when it comes to the coronavirus and with the vaccine. However,
I'm listening.
Okay, is it uncommon for the government to get things wrong?
No one's perfect.
Okay.
Things could be wrong, but with this whole issue, I honestly feel, and I know I'm jumping into the pot with you right now.
Yes, you are.
I honestly feel if your President Trump would have been proactive, it wouldn't have gotten this bad.
I don't think that plays a role in this at all, and let me explain to you why. It's real simple. Well, hear me out. Hear me out. Let me explain to you. Hold on. Let me explain to you why. Let me explain. Hold on. The president does not dictate.
We had N1, H1, and we didn't get shut down.
That's okay. First of all, again, I'm gonna try to repeat this as much as I can. The president doesn't dictate what it is that human beings do on a regular basis. Now, the president is the leader of the United States, but very rarely does the president dictate what we do. Now, I remember when Chris Rock was talking about gun control after a mass shooting, and Chris Rock got on stage and said that I believe that the president is your mommy and your daddy, and you listen to your parents. That's what Chris Rock said. And many people were applauding him and they were replaying that. They were saying, they're your mom. Donald Trump comes around, all of a sudden, Donald Trump's not your mom. Donald Trump and Melania are not your mommy and daddy. Oh, no. They were the people that you resisted. Right? They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were talking about. They were wholly unqualified. Right? And most people didn't trust them. Most people didn't trust them. If he had come out and said that the coronavirus was a deadly disease, they would have said that it was a distraction and he was trying to avoid getting impeached. Oh, that's right. That's exactly what Nancy Pelosi said. That's exactly what she said.
I'm not get it all into that.
And Nancy Pelosi went out to Chinatown in San Francisco during the Chinese New Year's, encouraging her constituents to go to Chinatown and celebrate Chinese New Year with the Chinese, when Donald Trump was talking about the coronavirus in February. So again, when people start talking about what Donald Trump should have done, okay, listen, there's a degree of there's a degree of people being disingenuous.
It wasn't out to that degree. However, we were briefed about it. He knew about it. And
sure, as did many people.
Put back together the pandemic working group, and if he would have put some guidelines up then about travel and who was coming in the country and out of the country, I feel we would not be as far as we are. Now, people could say what they want about President Trump, but there were some really good things he did, i.e., TikTok's owned by China. Why aren't we paying attention? Some of these social media stuff are being tracked by our enemies, and they're using it to get to us and find out information.
People, but hold on. There's another part that you're missing here. Donald Trump is responsible for Operation Warp Speed. That's one, right? The reason why, January 11th, right? Biden becomes president January 20th. January 11th, Biden, he gets the injection into his arm. Why? As a product of Donald Trump, right? We get an experimental drug into people's arms within 9 months, maybe 7 months, right? We get a vaccine within 7 months. Joe Biden got his before he became president. It gets worse. Kamala Harris was asked on the national stage during the vice presidential debate on if Donald Trump were to get a vaccine, whether or not she would take it. She politicized it and said, I'll take a vaccine, but not one by Donald Trump. So there's a lot of people being incredibly disingenuous about this vaccine.
There's a lot of stuff that was said during the debate, because during
that was political?
The debate, people are coming after each other because they want to win. They say stuff, they do whatever. Okay, fine.
I said that earlier.
There was a debate between Biden and Mr. Obama, and they weren't too nice to each other then either.
But I said that earlier. That, again, when I was talking about, remember what you wrought. There are people now who refuse to take the vaccine, and it's not because they're conservative, white, and Trump supporters. No, it's because Kamala Harris in October was telling people she wouldn't take a vaccine that was produced under the Trump administration. So now these people...
I've talked to people, and the majority of people, ethnic people, are afraid to take the vaccine because of what happened when they were injecting syphilis.
Yeah, I understand that.
Stuff in black people and brown people.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that.
The vaccine. They lied to them, said it was a vaccine.
But Jen, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because there's something you're missing.
Not because President Trump. They fear the government.
Okay.
I.e., my son refuses to take unless he has to play college football, which he's going to have to.
Well, Jennifer, you have to understand the hypocrisy of that statement. Can you understand the hypocrisy of that statement you just made? You mind me? Let me lay it out for you. Hold on. Let me lay it out for you so that... Wait. Let me lay it out for you. But Jen, let me lay it out for you why that statement you just made about people who are fearful of this vaccine and the whole Tuskegee experiment, why that doesn't hold water. Okay? Let me explain to you why it doesn't hold water.
That's what the
You
will tell you.
have to listen to me. I know it's what they tell me. It doesn't mean that they make any sense. That's why I'm going to tell you that the argument doesn't hold water. Let me listen to me. No. This is the reason why I never trust people. I never trust people when it comes to the government or when it comes to science, because they will flip-flop and change their position within a heartbeat. So pay very close attention to exactly how I'm going to lay this out. The people within the African-American community who say that because of the Tuskegee experiment with syphilis, right, that they will not trust the government when it comes to taking this vaccine, are also the same group of people who wear a mask outside after they're vaccinated because the government tells them to. They're also the same people who listen to the government that tells them that COVID-19 will kill you. They also tell them that you need to socially distance. They also they listen to the government when they tell you, when the government puts out a mandate and tells people in the African American community to follow it, they follow it wholeheartedly. They don't question a word that comes out of the government's mouth when it comes to COVID-19. Not one of them has been a rebel or rebellious or been defiant when it comes to the government putting mandates on them about wearing this mask, about socially distancing, about cleaning all of their household covers, about buying Clorox out of the wazoo, buying all of the toilet paper. Black people and brown people, they ran freaking to the Walmart, the Costco, and the BJ's and was listening to the government wholeheartedly. Then the government says, hey, we need you to take the vaccine. They go, whoa, 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 whoa. Remember what you did to those black people in the Tuskegee experiment? Come on. It's laughable.
It's not just the older black people, the people running out.
Younger black people too.
Stuff like that. I've talked to kids that just graduated from college. My son upstairs was in college. Kids that are in high school. These black kids remember Black history. They fear. They're like, this is a conspiracy theory.
What is?
They're trying to shoot something into us that is not real.
Okay. So if they believe that, why don't they tear off their masks? But why don't they tear off their masks? Why are they keeping their mask on while they're saying that the government?
My son doesn't wear a mask.
Okay, I understand you're talking about one person. I know you're talking about one person. I'm saying that if there are young people who are saying that the government is I understand that, but if the government is involved in a conspiracy theory, why doesn't it listen? If the government's involved in a conspiracy theory, why doesn't it extend to the mask wearing? They continue to wear a mask. What do they just to be sure? You're wearing a mask? You want to inject yourself with a vaccine.
Wear the mask.
Because the mask what? Because what do they know about virus? Wait a minute. So you mean that everything that we've learned about viruses growing up, everything we learned about the flu growing up, we know it has nothing to do with wearing masks. You get the flu, you touch my hand, you touch my face, I mean, you breathe on me. The mask doesn't cover my whole face. I'm not walking in a hazmat suit.
You used to walk into my house, I used to spray you with Lysol.
Yes, and I used to say that you were ridiculous.
I didn't want to catch you.
Okay? Again, but that's because you didn't know the science.
Going outside.
But Jen, that is because you didn't.
I'll probably wear a mask for a long time.
Yes, I know you're going to wear a mask while you say that you don't trust the government in the Tuskegee experiment, even though you already took the vaccine. What I'm saying is,
I did not say I didn't trust the government.
Okay, well, then people are going to have to make a decision on whether or not they trust the government or they don't, and stop lying to themselves or stop lying to me. Because I don't care if you lie to me. Stop lying to yourselves. You're either going to take the vaccine or you're not. But please stop sitting around here talking about, because I had this woman the other day talking about, did you get your vaccine? I'm like, no. COVID-19.
I'm fully vaccinated. And there's some
COVID-19.
Some places I don't.
Listen.
But being in isolation for that long period of time, I had my aunt visit me, and she insisted in sleeping in the bed with me, and I was like, "Oh, COVID! Oh my God!"
Did you hear the report today?
I was going through.
Did you hear the report today on how many people have died since the vaccine was started being administered the last couple of months? Did you hear how many people died?
I have not heard anything.
It's over 3,400. It's over 3,400 people who have died after taking a vaccine. Did you know that?
And you know what? That's the risk you take.
Wait, do you understand? So that should make you. That should make you curious. But
there is a risk to taking any.
then why would I? Do you understand that? I know there's a risk to any. Hold on. You see where you contradict yourself? You said that there's a risk doing anything. Let me explain something to you. That's the reason. Hold on. That's how we live life. But see, you keep saying there's a risk to everything. Then why did you take the vaccine? You took the vaccine because what? You wanted to minimize the risk?
I took the vaccine because it was my choice.
That's not what I'm asking you. No. That's not what I'm asking you. I'm talking about related to risk. I'm talking about related to risk. You drive your car. There's a risk of getting into an accident.
Please, you asked me a question.
Well, no. You're filibustering and not listening to the question.
Can I please finish my question?
Go ahead. Finish your statement. Go ahead.
Okay. So my answer to your question is, I took the vaccine so I could have the antibodies because I know my immune system's weak and I catch a cold like that. So I'm going to take the vaccine because I have serious pre-existing conditions. I'm just now getting back on my feet and back healthy. You know that.
Okay.
So I chose to take the vaccine.
But I'm
That was
asking.
my choice.
Okay, but I'm asking you a broader question than
I
that.
also chose to take the vaccine because my mother's 80 years old and she asked me to so we could be together because she
Okay.
didn't feel safe.
I understand
I
that,
take a
Jen.
risk every day when I go outside.
That's correct.
And cross the street.
That's correct.
I take a risk every day.
That's correct. So
when
why
I
is this
take my
different?
Insulin and my heart pills.
So,
that
Jen,
I
why
have
is this?
not-
But wait. You're not answering the question. Why is this different? If you take a risk in everything it is that you do on a regular basis, more people die of heart disease than they do of COVID-19. Every day is a risk. What we eat, how we live, every day is a risk. What makes no, you're not. You got to let me finish. There's a risk in everything it is that we do. 99% of people who get COVID survive it. Only 1%, right, of people who get COVID-19 suffer severely. 1%. 99% recover. Wait, you got to let me finish,
I
Jen.
if I caught COVID because my
Jen, you got to let me finish, please.
Because when
I
get
understand.
sick,
You could be
when I
upset,
do get
Jennifer.
sick, it's bad.
Jennifer, you could be
I did
upset.
not take it.
Jennifer, you could be upset about what I'm going to say, but I'm going to finish my point.
I'm not
90%.
upset.
Okay, well, you're jumping in because you're not letting me finish. 99% of people who get COVID recover from it. You said we face risks every day. The risk of COVID-19 is minimal. So if we take risks every day, what makes COVID-19 different when the risk is minimal? But the risk, I'm not talking about your personal choice here. I'm talking about, wait. I said, I know what your personal choice is. We're not talking about your personal choice. You said,
No, what I
said that,
when I catch a cold, when I caught a cold last year, not last year, the year before last, when I caught a cold, I was sick for 3 months.
I know that you keep talking
I
about,
know, and I had back-to-back.
Jen, I know that you're talking about,
back-to-back.
Jennifer.
So I know if I catch COVID, it's going to be a wrap
Jennifer,
for me.
I know that you're talking about yourself, but I am not. I'm talking about, I'm being general here, right? If we take risk every, so can you please stop interrupting me, Jen, for a second, please?
It's like a fortune. It's your choice.
Okay, again, I'm not talking about choice. I said I'm asking you a question that you're not listening to, so you can't answer it because you're not listening to it. Again, everything in life has risks. COVID-19 in our society today, for some odd reason, is getting a considerable amount of attention that is affecting daily lives. Civil liberties, constitutionality, constitutional liberties are being completely removed. People are not allowed to assemble. People are not allowed to serve their God. Do you understand that? People are not allowed to go places. They are having their civil liberties taken from them. Okay? People have been sued, threatened with jail time for opening up their businesses in order to take care of themselves. Their civil liberties are being put at risk, all right, are in harm's way. And I'm asking you a question. With all of the risks that we take on a regular basis, what made it different for COVID-19? And the only answer that anybody can give me is that it was a healthcare It was a health crisis. Well, everything in this country is a health crisis, from smoking, health crisis, to high blood pressure, health crisis, to hypertension, which overwhelmingly kills African Americans.
COVID-19 was highly contagious.
99% of the people who got it survived.
But
you don't get that anywhere else.
Looking out my aunt's window in New York, looking out her window and seeing freezer trucks.
You don't.
Outside the hospital.
You don't get, again, you don't get this statistic.
COVID-19 did not personally affect you.
No, actually, that's not true. It did personally affect me. My brother, his wife, and their 6-month-old baby got COVID-19, and they're fine. Because again, 99% of the people who get it, sure there are people who died of COVID-19, but you can't. See, this is the excuse. People say, I know somebody. Hold on. Listen to me, Jennifer. People use that argument all the time. I know somebody who got COVID-19 and they died, which is an excuse to do what? It's an excuse to go to the. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No, it's not.
Right now, that their husband got COVID-19 and he's like.
So what?
But he was on his deathbed, and their daughter.
So.
COVID-19. She didn't know she had COVID-19, and she sent the police to do a welfare check to her house, and she had been dead for 2 weeks.
Okay, so what?
So it depends on your DNA,
which means what?
And you cannot guarantee.
No, and wait. Of course, wait, Jen. You're not even listening to yourself.
In the 80s.
You're not even listening. What do you mean you cannot guarantee? There are no guarantees in life. What makes COVID different? We have to start guaranteeing. Wait. Why is it with COVID-19? Jennifer, why are you not listening to a question that I'm stating to you? There are no guarantees in anything. Why is COVID-19 different? Why do we have to have guarantees with COVID-19? Just answer that question. Why must we have guarantees when it comes to the risk of COVID-19? Why must there be guarantees? Dr. Fauci said we can't go back to normal until no one gets COVID-19. That's
we're going back to normal now.
Wait. Dr. Fauci said, nope. Dr. Fauci said we cannot go back to normal. Hold on. I hear you getting angry, but you're not listening to me. Dr. Fauci said that we cannot. Dr. Fauci said, because you're interrupting me and you're not letting me speak, and we're not having an exchange here. Dr. Fauci said we cannot go back to normal until everyone is safe. There is no way to do that. Why is COVID-19 different? We don't do that with heart disease. We don't do that with drunk driving. We don't do that with cigarette smoking. We don't do it with cancer. We don't do it with tuberculosis. Shit, we don't do that with measles or the mumps. We don't do, no. We have diseases. We have diseases that are much more risky. Cancer. We have diseases that will wipe out.
Cancer from you coughing on me.
You're not. What do you mean coughing on you?
Or shaking your hand.
Then don't shake. Then stay home. Then just stay.
Figure out completely the science, but they don't understand it until they figure out completely the science and what's going on.
Until they figure it out.
It's always going to be this.
Wait, hold on. Diabetes? Wait. We still have sugar in our food and in our candy, and they haven't figured out how to stop diabetes, much less childhood diabetes.
But I can't.
Wait a minute.
Diabetes.
Hold on. Cancer.
I caught diabetes because I was undisciplined.
There's no cure for AIDS either.
Or two. Half of my family.
There's no cure for AIDS. Wait a minute. There's no cure for AIDS either. And condoms are not 100%. Condoms are not 100% effective either to keep you from catching AIDS, and AIDS can kill you.
That's a choice. But you can't catch AIDS from coughing on someone.
COVID-19 is 99. Again, wait. COVID-19,
Then I touch
99%,
like that.
Jen, 99%, I'm going to say it as many times because you know it's to be true, 99% of the people who get COVID-19 recover from it. 99%. Wait.
No.
99%. Yes, that's a fact. 90, well, wait a minute.
We
99.
really don't know how many people really did survive.
Oh, and this means what?
Because these surveys and these percentages are not real. What we need to say is this.
What?
This is a communicable disease.
It's not a disease, it's a virus.
Never be back to normal.
It's not a disease.
This is our new norm.
It's a virus.
And this is the new normal.
No, it isn't.
People in Japan have been wearing masks forever.
Again.
This is our new normal.
So it sounds
And,
to
you know, we're pretty much back to normal anyway because people are doing whatever the hell they want and they're going on vacations, Puerto Rico, doing whatever. This is our new normal.
Wendy says, creating fear to create control over us. Wendy also says that she is banging her head on the desk. Hold on. Opportunists taking advantage of COVID to change our rights and government. So this is the thing that I keep saying over and over again, Jennifer. And I know that, listen, I can't convince you, and that's not my job to do that. I'm just trying to have an exchange with you on this one. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just asking you a very, very valid question. And that is, there are plenty of things in life that have risks. I'm just asking what changed, and you saying that because we could get the virus. I think that it was a lot of hype that a lot of people fell into. I think that the overhyping, look, if this had been your dishwashing liquid can kill you, I think people would have gone nuts if it had been played over and over again on CNN and there was a death count sitting on their TV of how many people had died of their dish detergent. I think that this was applicable, this fanaticism over COVID, this could have been applicable to anything. I could have invented anything. If I wanted to be a real piece of trash, I could have said that the My Pillow guy was secretly killing people with an ingredient inside of his pillow and then ran a death count every day on my ticker right next to me. And you all would have been crazy. You never would have read anything about the science. Nobody goes to the CDC website. There's nothing sexy on the CDC website. No one goes to the National Institute of Health's website when they report more and more times about how the masks do nothing. You hear the CDC put out a report last week that said staying 6 feet apart indoors is no different than being 60 feet apart indoors. Why? Because COVID-19 is an airborne virus. And when a virus is airborne, it's not about you breathing it in. It's about getting on your skin and getting inside of your pores. And next thing you know, you have the virus. It isn't about breathing it in. The virus can get into your eye. Let's say the virus is airborne and you rub your eye after you touch something inside the store. You've got COVID-19 and you don't even know it. Do you remember in the beginning when they told us that people who were asymptomatic and showed no symptoms of COVID-19, they could very seriously affect others who might have comorbidities? That you may be asymptomatic and give somebody else COVID-19 and kill them. But what did we find out maybe close to a year later? Turns out that was bullshit too. Nothing was true about it. And where did we get this information from originally? From the government and Dr. Fauci. Right? Dr. Fauci said in the beginning, you don't need to wear a mask. It would be ridiculous for the American public to wear masks. Now the son of a bitch is wearing 2 and 3 and 4. Come on. All right? So when these people sit around here and they question this nonsense, okay, when they question the things that are coming out of the government's mouth, look, the government is not omnipotent. The government is not without fault and not is not infallible. Okay, these people are bureaucrats. These people are disingenuous, and a lot of them have an agenda. And the reason why I brought up this nonsense that we're talking about with little kids in summer camp, the least likely to catch COVID-19, they're telling 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds to run around in summer camp wearing masks, knowing damn well that the kid can die of heat exhaustion doing that. This is coming from the CDC. They're supposed to be the wizards of smart, Jen. They don't know what they're talking about. And the average person who does not know anything about science, has never had a doctorate, knows that what they're being told by a government bureaucracy is wrong, because common sense rules the day. But if you tell enough people will sit around and put their 4-year-old kid in a mask and tell them go run outside. And then when their kid is face down in the ground and can't breathe, they'll wonder why. Why did you besmirch me, Dr. Fauci? Don't listen to a guy like Dr. Fauci.
Have you ever raised a 4-year-old kid?
I'm sorry?
Every 4-year-old kid that I see has that mask off their face. Their parent has to say, "Put it back on, Johnny."
Yes, and guess what? They will probably take that kid. You should have listened.
Kids are going to do what they do.
You should have listened to my show.
Anyway.
You should have listened to my show yesterday.
I'm not talking about the kids. I'm not talking about the little kids, because under a certain age, you're not supposed to wear a mask. You're not supposed to have babies wearing a mask or whatever. But this is what I am going to say.
Yes.
There's a difference between a virus that you can catch communicably, and they didn't understand it. And that's why it was heightened in the fear. Then we've been we've been isolated for so long that now we're like, I was already squeamish about people sneezing and coughing. Ew, get away from me. And now I'm more squeamish about it.
I understand.
Today in my office, my employee came into the office and said, "I need to go to the car and get my mask." I said, "We've all been immunized. What's going on?" She's like, "Someone's coughing over there. I need to go get my mask." I said, "Baby, go get your mask if it makes you feel comfortable."
Yeah.
And she went and got her mask.
Yeah, which makes these people dumb.
Now it's about comfortability. They didn't know what it was going to evolve into, what it's going to do. Nothing.
Listen to me.
So people naturally react out of fear.
If that woman had come up to me and said, "I got to go get my mask because somebody is coughing," I'd have slapped her. I'd have said, "Hey, come here. Come real close. You're an idiot. I'm going to slap you again. One more slap. Stand still. Now I'm going to slap the mask off your face." That's what I would have done. Because she's an idiot. And we can't let stupid people run the day. We just can't let them rule the day. Stupid people will get us killed because they're dangerous. And these people are dangerous.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I didn't catch. I followed the guidelines. I didn't catch.
No, you're not following the guidelines, because if you followed the guidelines, you'd know that the CDC just said. And I never had COVID. I didn't follow one guideline because I know the government is a bunch of bureaucrats who don't know what they're talking about. And if you followed the guidelines...
Maybe it's from the grace of God.
What the grace of God? How about I've never been sick for longer than 12 hours ever in my life?
God, maybe it's not, but it's a choice.
Okay. I know. CDC.
You can't compare cancer to a communicable disease because... You can't catch cancer like that. People were afraid, and
dumb. And when people are when people are dumb and uninformed and stupid and reactionary, they make mistakes. And I'm willing to accept that. I just wanted to understand the science.
They're reactionary. They make mistakes, but
That's
I also
right.
feel like people were sent here. People were sent back over here with this disease to spread it, to shut down America.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So
Maybe. I won't even get into that debate, but maybe. It's quite possible. Who knows? But Jennifer, thank you.
There's a couple of things else in the air that it could be.
I know.
But I will say this. This was a fun conversation.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you coming out. Let's give it up for Jen. Thank you, Jen. Have a good one, my dear. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That's Jen. She's one of my best friends, oddly enough. She and I have had this debate for over a year. Really. All right, folks, you know what that sound is. That is our show for tonight. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC and Rush Limbaugh in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. And we also know that if you want to make God laugh, make plans. I'm Reese on the radio. Have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow. I'll see you right back here with more news, more views, all the news that's fit to spit. Holler!